Hey world, long time no see. For those who don't know, my name is Keith of Nerdy Keith, defender of nerds, destroyer of naysayers. And this is another rendition of the Rant Café. On the Rant Café, I like to talk about the many things that grind my gears, and for the most part, it is a segment I have dedicated to my channel to get all of those things that trouble me the most right off my chest. Some may find these issues to be of great importance, while others may find them to be first world problems. Today I want to talk about a particular group of people, these alleged great warriors, these brave, thick-skinned men and women of steel, and what makes them so amazing? Apparently they don't get triggered. Apparently nothing offends them. Literally nothing in the world is offensive or triggering to them. They have such nerves of steel, folks, that they are trigger proof. And I do feel compelled to give a brief trigger warning here. Yeah, I know, a trigger warning in a video about being triggered. Stay with me. When I use the term triggered, I am not referring to its original meaning, which is basically an emotional response, sometimes involving a trigger, i.e. painful reaction, sometimes related to a painful memory, in which can evoke a flashback of such a memory. This form of triggering involves some very serious implications and serious responses, sometimes involving shaking, loss of appetite, fainting, fatigue, and so on, which is no laughing matter and is not the topic of today's video. So with that said, and now that we have our context matters game in order, nobody is trigger proof. The funny thing about the term triggered is it has a kind of a love it and hate it kind of rep. I love it because back in my day, God, I sound old. Anyway, back in my day, we didn't use the term triggered, at least not in the same context. Instead, we used the term butthurt, which I guess is still kind of relevant in some circles. Why did we ever think that was a good phrase to go for? Butthurt? I get that we're trying to convey that certain people are behaving a little too sensitively regarding certain issues within a certain context. But why involve their butts? I am personally inclined to think that the pain status of one's rear end is quite a private matter, but maybe that's just me. But one thing I will say for the term triggered is it pretty much gets to the point, it gets to the root of the issue, so it at least has that going for it. But so many misuse the term and are basically using the term triggered as a tool for censorship and taking any given opportunity to yell out triggered every time an alternative viewpoint is presented. If you are involved in a debate and you're listening to what your opponent is saying and you're responding to your opponent by uttering one single word and that one single word is triggered, that's not an argument. That only proves that you have none. Then we have our beloved and alleged trigger-proof people. Folks who love to claim, I don't get offended, nothing offends me, etc, etc, etc. Okay, they say nothing offends them. Okay, let's revisit the definition of triggered. Within this context, it basically means we are offended or outraged by something. And that outrage invokes a trigger. A trigger is an emotional reaction. So while it is not as serious as the original meaning of the word triggered, it is still rooted in that emotional response. And human beings cope with that emotional response by either expressing it or suppressing it. We express it by displaying reactions of, for example, and not limited to, anger, outrage, passive aggression, projection, or sarcasm. So unless you have found some way to basically become a robot, we all get triggered. We all experience triggers in some manner, shape, or form. And if you are the type of person that is suppressing every trigger under the sun, you should probably consider seeking professional help, because quite honestly, you are a danger to yourself and those around you. It is seriously like waiting for a ticking time bomb to go off. But for most of you trigger-proof folks out there, I actually don't think you're crazy. I just think you're full of crap. But this ugly culture that we have created of trigger shaming the masses has caused such an epidemic of toxicity. We are encouraging the masses not to express their emotions. Historically, that has never proven to be healthy. And it's not just that. It seems to me that this trend of trigger shaming the masses has been used as a tool for censorship a lot. So here's a fun thought. Instead of shutting people down and dismissing their alternative views as triggered, why not sit down with these people and explain why, rationalize why your particular viewpoint is not offensive? Have an actual conversation and debate about the topics at hand. Because I really do get the impression that all of those engaged in trigger shaming are they themselves possibly the most triggered of them all. And if that is the case, they really need to sit down and discuss their feelings and views in a more constructive manner. Trigger shaming the masses while pretending to be immune from all forms of offense is not helping. It's harming yourself and it's harming others around you. And it creates such a toxic culture. Till next time guys, don't forget, nerds rule the world. Again, thanks so much for watching everyone. If you like this video, please feel free to check out my previous videos on my main channel, Nerdy Keith, and on my secondary channel, Keith's Universe.